Well, as we had mentioned, AIG is hosting its first shareholders meeting since the company received more than $180 billion in a government bailout. Suzanne O'Halloran is covering the meeting from downtown New York City. And Suzanne, AIG is looking for a new CEO. So how is that going to affect today's meeting?
Well, Betty, that's likely to be the focal point of today's meeting. Investors do want to know how long it's going to take the board to convince somebody to take this CEO job, which is probably one of the toughest CEO spots available right now, especially considering the condition AIG's in. Now, Ed Liddy can attest to that. Liddy is still CEO, but he did tender his resignation several weeks ago. He will stay on until a replacement is found. Liddy took over just days after the government bailout and really inherited a troubled company, but nonetheless, he did face a firestorm over bonuses, millions in bonuses that continued to be paid as shares of AIG fell to basically nothing, and as the company was on the brink of bankruptcy. So Liddy is expected to be here today, Betty, along with 3 government appointees. These appointees will control the voting for the board re-election. In some cases, it's new members that perhaps could be elected to the board. But nonetheless, investors want to know who's going to be the next CEO and what is he going to do to improve business. The meeting is taking place at 72 Wall Street, right behind me. Betty?
And Suzanne, something else about AIG. I mean, they were warning, or at least they talked about more risks in an SEC filing. Tell us a bit more about that.
That's right. A very important filing that was put out late last night ahead of today's meeting. The company did disclose that they still have a significant exposure to derivatives tied to European banks. Now, they did say that this could have a material adverse impact on results given the size of their exposure, their credit exposure. So whether you understand derivatives or not, what this says is the firm is still exposed to very risky assets. And that really is what drove AIG down just in the past 12 months or so when they did face bankruptcy and they did need that bailout from the government. So investors are going to want an update on business. Now, we have started to see some folks arrive today. There isn't a lot of activity as much as we've seen at other meetings, such as Bank of America and Goldman Sachs. But that'll probably be a question as well, Betty. How is the firm doing business-wise? They are making progress selling some of their units. We're reporting Bloomberg News that there are some LBOs interested in the life insurance unit in Taiwan, but there is still a lot of work to do here for whoever takes the CEO job to improve AIG's business. Betty?
Certainly far from over. Thank you so much, Suzanne.